Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Dina and today I'm here with you for another yarn talk video. And as always, we can't talk yarn without me having my faithful mug of tea. And today this tea is an Earl Grey. It's a Russian Earl Grey from the brand of Lipton. It is a permit back teas. If you are in the UK, you're probably knowing these teas. Quite classic tea. It's basically an Earl Grey with a flavor of added a lemon, lovely fresh lemon from, I do believe they say it's from Spain, but it's a wonderful fresh version of an Earl Grey. So, a few things has happened, and there is definitely a few things for us to talk about during this yarn talk video. I did get some new yarns because I was at the city. So plans for that. I also finished the Ultimate Sacrifice Shawl, and you saw a copy of that in the thumbnail before opening this video. And yes, it is gorgeous. So I was thinking I'm going to show you guys how it looks here on screen, and then maybe afterwards or something like that. It could be that I'll put it up here as an extra show off. I was working on it, and it pattern basically stopped 5 rows before I did. So I calculated out and figured out it's an easy increase pattern actually. So I increased another time, did another 4 rows because every increase is like 4 rows. And then when I were about to do the 5th row, I was looking at my yarn and I was like, I'm not so sure I have enough yarn to do another increase, because the increases increase by 48 double crochets. So that's quite a fair amount to add on to everything else. And I decided not to increase. Result was I had 3 grams of yarn left. I was using the Dahlia Halloween yarn from Hobbii, their Halloween Dahlia, which is 100% cotton. They are 800 meter cakes, so 874 yards to 200 grams or 7 ounces in total. This was the colorway 1 that I used, and as I said, I had just 3 grams left. This is the yarn I had left, and I'm unsure if I could just have squeezed out 48 double crochets from this, or maybe just not. And honestly, I did not want to take the gamble, and therefore I played the safe end. And based on the calculations, I should be able to finish that last row, which I'm happy I did, because that is the only reason that we actually do have a full black round border. But yeah, I am definitely going to show you guys how it turned out. And you can barely see it here. So what I am gonna do, I am gonna get up, because else no, you won't be able to see it. So give me a moment and I will show this absolutely. Oh, that's not even enough. I am going to put my chair a little bit to the side here, because else I can't even be here in the room. I simply don't have enough room. Here we are. Isn't this gorgeous? I think it is absolutely freaking gorgeous. I've been upgraded. My partner called it a piece of art. Which really makes me happy, because until now this is just like some yarn put together and he's not really finding it much. It's not like he's supporting me in what I'm doing, it's just not his style. But that he called a piece of art. So I take that as a very high compliment. My mom-in-law told me today that I should be selling my makes, because she felt I could do so, which is another compliment for me. You guys have been telling me to start selling my makes, so yeah, I am probably going to start selling my makes. But that said, with the current situation and everything, I have to wait a little bit to see how it's going to work out with unemployment benefits that I'm going to be receiving, because I do not want them to nag in on the amount that I'm supposed to get. It is a benefit that I'm receiving because I did get unemployed, not due to my own reason or cause. So it was not my, like, I didn't do anything to get unemployed. The company had to let me go. And therefore, through your taxes, this is like a benefit you get for a specific amount based on how long you have been employed, etc. My rights is for 3 months. I'm going to see how that's going to work out first before starting and kicking off everything. Until then, I will keep making my makes. I will keep doing my YouTubes. I have a few ideas in mind for tutorials. I will keep basically doing what you're used to me doing here, except I will slowly start building up a stash for a later sale. And the only question is when that's going to be launched, but probably February, March, or sooner, depending on how it's going to work out with this unemployment benefits, etc. That's kinda ish what's happening. But I just promise you, because this kinda was a topic that sneak into it, I did promise you to just let you know how it was going, or how it was looking, the Ultimate Sacrifice shawl, when I wasn't holding it. And I grabbed the photo just before I pulled it off the blocking boards, and you can see it right up here, and I think it is so absolutely gorgeous. I am really, really, really happy with how that turned out. So yeah, have a look at it. I've progressed on Fleur, my mosaic blanket, which is designed by Anke Wintermans. I do have a link for the blankets pattern where you can buy it in the description box down below. And I got it as a, well, I got it from Ravelry, the pattern, and then I got the yarn as a yarn pack for this specific design, and I got that from yarnplaza.com, which is a Dutch store. And I work it with a 4mm crochet hook. I did cake up the 2 cakes that I'm currently using. So these are the my working cakes, so to say. And it's Stylecraft Special DK yarns. The colorway, the cream colorway, and the red is claret. And I've done, so I was stopped at 52 rows last time. I'm now at 54 rows plus some. And the reason I say plus some, it's like a quarter. But that is because I'm now getting to the size of this blanket where I cannot be expected, well, that sounds wrong because I would never be expected to, but where I cannot guarantee or be expected to have a full round finished for every yarn talk video, simply because it takes time to do. And every row I increase by, every side is 2 increases, and there are 4 sides, so there's 8 extra stitches for every round. So every round I do, I have 8 more stitches. As you can hear, we are at like 54. So 55 is already like 220 extra stitches compared to the very beginning. So obviously every round increases. So here we are. This is the starting corner. I should maybe, no, that's not the starting corner. Well, yes it is. It's because I'm looking on it from the back side. That's why it's confusing to me. So this is my starting corner, and I worked all the way down here and I stopped here, which is the new corner. So that would be how it will look if you look at the top end, how it will look at all 4 sides once row 55 is completed. And we are also at a stage where I slowly need to get up with the chair for you to actually see this whole blanket. At row, I do believe it's 67, I will change yarn again for a new color, and that's more like a purplish color. So from this red goes into a different color. The back side, you can see here in the corner where I'm carrying up the yarn, but that's basically just the negative part of the process. And I did mention that already last time, getting to a place where this project slowly cannot be in my project crate. I either need to project crates or something else for this, because it's growing. I'm not surprised and I'm happy. It's just my project crates are kind of nice because I can stack them. I have these crates with a lid that goes on top. I can see through them. That is where usually all my active projects are in for me to help easier keep track. Though these days I do have a few more projects than I have project crates. So maybe it's not too bad, because then if this one moves out, I'm not really sure where it should live then yet. Then I can use a project crate for exactly something else. But I am nicely going to put this one back into row 54 is where we are at. And they do still sort of fit in the project crate. Oopsie daisy. As you can see, we still semi-fit in it. And the 4mm hook goes in there. And I also started a new project this week, and the pattern actually called for the 4mm hook. And I have to say, these soft touch hooks from Clover are so amazing for me to work with. I really enjoy them, and therefore I really didn't want to let this one go. And I'll tell you a bit more about that project in a few. But I ended up taking a different crochet hook size than the pattern calls for, and it's actually working out pretty nice. So it's working out. But the reason I mainly did it was because I did not want to take this crochet hook. And I do have more 4mm hooks, but I really like working with these. I've definitely gotten a preference or a taste. Then the Thoughts of Aranel shawl is 100% alpaca shawl that I'm working on in the DROPS yarn, DROPS Alpaca. So far, the last 2 weeks, I've been working on them during my weekly lives. But this week I did not go live, and the reason for that is a few things. I had other plans Wednesday, and I've also been a little bit like getting over my cold. I've had a cold, and I'm really spent a bit of time to get over it. So I had a bit of a runny nose, and like it wasn't bad, but it was like I was just not being 100% fit. So therefore I ended up deciding, okay, I'm sorry guys, I'll scrap it and I'll just enjoy myself, so to say, or sleep or get better or do other things that I also needed to get done. One of the things we're including, I spent some time blocking the Ultimate Sacrifice shawl, which I'm still really happy about how it turned out. So yeah, there is that. And definitely it would not have been the same size had I not added those last 5 rows, had I stopped where the pattern called me to stop. So I'm quite happy with the end result, and I think I want to make it again in different colors, and maybe even different yarns to see how it would turn out with a bigger cake. But that's not something that I'm gonna do right here, right now, because I do have a few other projects lined up that I really need to get started on before then, or do before then. So it is like in my mind to do, in the planning eventually. What I did do on the, I do see I missed one thing, but I can do that after recording this. I did finish the row of bubble stitches on the Thoughts of Aranel shawl, and I'm just going to keep track on where we are. How come this turned out to be on the front side? That shouldn't be. Well, I will just a moment keep track on my yarn. So what I really need to do is I need to weave in those ends, but I haven't done that yet. That's the fundamental bottom line of this. I have some ends I need to weave in where I changed yarn last time. But this is the yarn I'm working with. You can see this gorgeous heathered look. It's the DROPS Alpaca yarn, Alpaca mix, an all-time favorite. It's the thinnest yarn that DROPS have, or some of the thinnest yarns DROPS have. As you can see, this is really like a lace weight yarn. 100% alpaca. They recommend 3mm knitting needle, 3mm needles or hooks. I use a 3.25mm, which is a D hook. It is a 50 gram ball, so 1.75 ounces to 167 meters. So that's about 183 yards. I do believe they call this color Alive. It was also the color that the pattern is calling for in the original. And actually, I'm realizing, because I just went through the pattern and I did the last increases, which means that I can actually remove all these, because I don't need to do further increases on this. I just need to, well, the increases automatically gets done or whatever. It's not like specific places where I need to do it. So I'm just right now, as we're speaking, removing those stitch markers because I no longer need them. Before I'm gonna show you the shawl, how far we have gotten, because I think it looks nice without my guiding stitch markers. There's no need to have them there anymore. So I've finished the last row of bubble stitches. There are no more bubble puff. There are no more puff stitches for me in this pattern. Yay! This is one of the patterns where I'm like, you know, why didn't I check there were puff stitches in? I don't mind. So the fun thing is, I don't mind doing puff stitches. And every time I'm then done doing puff stitches, I'm like, oh, never again. And then I find a new pattern, there's puff stitches in, but I want to do the pattern because I like the end result. And then I'll do the puff stitches. And then at the very end of that, I'm like, never puff stitches again. So it's like a love-hate relationship, you could say, I have with them. And I just started a new project, which also have puff stitches, but I'll show you that in a few, because we are still talking about, obviously, the thoughts of Ireland. And here's my working end. This, my friends, is how we're looking. And I have 2 ends here I need to weave in, I'm aware. It's also slowly getting so big that I cannot show it all. But what's interesting, of course, is how this is looking. You can see there's a row of puff stitches here, but as well here. But those puff stitches, right, or they do curl a bit back. That will get better once I add more rows. And as I said, I did the last row of puff stitches. No more puff stitches in this pattern. The last row of the increases on specific points, so to say. Now it's just like when it's increasing, it's because it's natural in the pattern to do so. And I calculated I have another 10 rows to go. And once those 10 rows are done, shawl is done. So what I might do, because also there's no super time consuming puff stitches, there are a few time consuming fans. I might spend a little bit more time actually working and finishing up this shawl. What I need to do then is I need to get some wool detergent, because this needs to get blocked with a woolen blocker. Also helps a little bit less against the curling and so on. So that is definitely something I need to do. And basically, yeah, getting it blocked. I do have a few other projects that need to get blocked. I kind of got started with the Ultimate Sacrifice. I'm really happy I did get it blocked before this yarn talk. Well, I did it earlier this week, but as I'm quite happy I did it, because then it didn't just get added to the pile of things I need to block. Because that pile does contain like 2 shawls at least still to go, and the Firefly Sweater, which is kind of pending until it's blocked. And then I need to sew those sides together, and I need to see if I can actually squeeze into it. And if I cannot, then it might get postponed until I can. At least that's pending right now. But yeah, so I think I might want to put a little bit more effort into actually finishing up this, because, you know, I like finishing things. Who doesn't? So I haven't finished. I've finished objects quite a bit recently. So if I can finish it before next week, if I only did this, definitely. But I do other things also to kind of. I do like changing up between things. Also a little bit. This is quite thin yarn. Only working with this thin yarn, it does take more. It's more time consuming. It just doesn't go as fast as bulkier yarn. That's just how it is. But as I said, I'm quite happy with the current result of this, and I will keep working on it. And it's probably gonna be done within the next 2 weeks, I think. I'm quite optimistic with the progress. And now we're just kind of closing that one down. So yeah, absolutely satisfied. Is there any of the projects so far that you really like? Let me know. Description box or comments down below. Then we have the summer shopper bag, and as you saw, I got new yarns. I ordered more yarns to be able to finish it because the original thought I had was not going to work out for this particular bag. And therefore I decided, okay, I have to order new yarn so it's going to work out the way I had thought or had in mind. Which conclusion wise is not completely with the color changes and so on. But I'm still seeing that it works really up nice in this recycled cotton yarn, Wheel of Yarn recycled cotton. It's 100% recycled cotton. It is an 8/8 cotton, which is about a DK weight cotton. Recalls for a 5mm crochet hook, 50 grams, so 1.75 ounces to 75 meters, which is about 82 yards. Fun thing is, this is spec-wise exactly the same as the recycled or the cotton yarn I used for the first editions of the summer shopper bag that I made. I do still have the idea that that yarn was slightly ever bulkier than this. But that said, it's still working out nicely. I added one more row in the foundation base in the circle before starting working up. And the beginning, I had the feeling that this was really needed because it seemed smaller. Right now, here in hindsight, I wonder if it would have been okay just to do it the same. It would not have been the biggest of differences. But here we are. With how it looks currently, I see I do have 2 ends I need to weave in. So I should not forget that either. Maybe I should do that with other 2 ends I need to weave in. Ends are ends. I did the following row of half double crochets plus a row of single crochets. So what I am to do now is I have to crochet on the strap, and then after that I need to do the single crochets around the sides of the strap. I am currently on the 5th skein here, so I will definitely be needing 6 skeins before I'm done because I don't have a bunch left on this. If you want to compare. So I'll definitely be needing 6 skeins for this, which is basically also a little bit what I predicted to need, 6 to 7 skeins, depending on how I do specific patterns or colorations. But this is basically how it's looking so far, with a white, nice bottom, and this absolutely gorgeous cross double crochet pattern on the side. And then we will now do a strap, a single row, a strap of half doubles, before we then do single crochets around both edges of that strap, one strap. So it basically one start going from one side to the other. If you have followed me, you have already seen the more beige sand color version of this in a different kind of yarn. But as I said, this is working up quite smoothly. I do have the feeling that this yarn is a little bit it's a little bit rough on my fingers, but it is softer than the other yarn, which is a bit funny. And the fun thing with this yarn is that some of them are super soft, and some of them I'm a little bit like, oh, it's a little bit rough. So I can't really explain how this yarn works up. I don't know if it's when you work a bit more when it gets softer. But anyhow, that's how we're looking. And given that I only need the strap and finishing off that, I'm actually seeing this bag being finished next week. That's kind of a goal of mine. So I could end up both finishing this bag and the Thoughts of Ireland if I'm really good. But the thing is, I also have other projects I want to work on, right? But should I finish this summer shopper bag, then, and I'm working again also 5mm hook. The yarn calls for it, the pattern calls for it. It's working up nicely with this pattern. You could probably maybe do 4.5mm hook if you wanted a slightly bit denser. But I'm actually quite happy with how it is because it feels a little bit more flexible, soft, workable, less stiff compared to the other one. And as I said, the yarn does feel slightly ever so bit thinner, so maybe that is also a part of where the differences come from. But I really enjoy this pattern, and obviously it's my third bag that I'm working up like this. And the thing is, I want to actually make one more, and that is because I have a color design in mind, which I think is gonna be nice. Yep. And that color design is with this sand color, which is one they call, I do believe they call it sand. And then we have the beige. Those two will work up very nicely together. I have 4 skeins of each. So the idea is basically to make a new one with different color variations. So these 2 colors will be combined in that pattern to make a nice combination change. And as I said, we are building up stock because so many people have been saying, hey Stine, you need to start selling your makes. You are so good, you can sell your makes. Yeah, I am going to work on making some stock to sell. That's just how it is. And I'm convinced some of these will work well. It's recycled yarn. It is, it's a really gorgeous bag. So yeah, something will come up on that later. But right now, I think the main focus is just making stock, especially until I figure out how all this unemployment benefit stuff is going to be working out the next couple of months. It's 3 months. So it's pretty close out in the future as to when things can come and change. So yeah, stay tuned for everything that's coming up on that account. Yeah, let's see, what do we else have? I started on the Aranel Shawl, and the Aranel Shawl is designed by K.A.M.E Crochet, Hungarian designer. This is a Hobbii Plus pattern. I do believe she also sells her patterns on Ravelry, among things. And that is the project where I needed the 4mm crochet hook, but decided that a 4.5 is gonna work fine for me. So I'm using my 4.5mm crochet hook for this project. It is working up nicely. If I'm comparing my photos to the pictures, etc., this is working up great. One of the reasons for this could be that my tension compared to the average, I guess, is slightly tighter, and therefore it is working up nicely. The Aronal Shawl I am making in a Flowers Alpaca cake. You can see I've taken some of the center out here already because it is getting a little bit more sloppy, which means eventually when I'm showing you how much left this cake is, I'm just gonna do like this. It is a gorgeous cake, I think. It's gray to white to lighter blues to teal blues. And the Aranel Shawl beginning is, it's a triangular shaped, but it's not a straightforward triangular shaped, because this is basically, this is where I started, and these are the rows as they continue. In one side you have this bubble stitch row where you can kind of see, it's a little bit difficult, but it's just about there. Yep, you can see how these fans are moving on. So it is half double crochets, 1 half double crochet, then you make a bubble stitch, but you start by skipping 2 stitches. You make a bubble stitch, chain 1, bubble stitch, chain 1, bubble stitch, all in the same stitch, then skip 2 stitches, and then you do double crochets all the way to the end of the row. At the very end of this row, so out here, I increase by 2 half double crochets, so it's all half double crochets. Then the row back, it's just half double crochets, like 2, so by increasing the first stitch, then half double crochets, then you turn, you start with a bubble, and then you do a bunch of half double crochets. So this is like a mindless project. It's so nice and simple. I love it. I do think right now in this dark gray, it's a little bit too dark maybe to be my next TV project, But when I'm looking down here, I can see that it's slowly lightening it a bit up soon. So maybe it's gonna be better in a few. Also, this I have to repeat for 144 rows in total. So once done, once you're at row 144 from the very beginning, that is when I will have to do something else. And let's see, because each of these bubble crochets is like 2 rows, so 2, 4, 6. Let's just count them and multiply afterwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So that's 38 plus the first few rows before them, which is like 39, 40, 1, 2, 3, 44 rows I've done. So there's another 100 rows to go. So as you can hear, I'm not gonna get bored because this is also increasing and increasing. And I do like the funnily odd shape this one is getting. It's gonna be a nice shawl. And it's just like lovely, straightforward. We'll see where we end. And it's one of these things that you can easily do. You can bring the project with you, or you can just mindlessly sit working on it, because half double crochets, easy peasy, right? Easy peasy. And looking at this, like, I think it's good that it's not necessarily a 4mm hook, because I think it works really up nicely for me in the 4.5. So preferences and everything works up really, really nicely. The Aranel Shawl, link to the pattern description box down below for your pleasure to see and watch. It is not the highest priority shawl right now, definitely. It's just for something when I need something easy and mindless, for behind the TV or something like that. That's also, for example, why I wanted to do another summer shopper bag. Not only just to create some stock because I have great ideas in mind, but also because when I'm sitting down watching TV, I need something where I need to count a bit less, and it's just like kind of the same stitches going on and on and on. As I told you last week, I had an appointment at my specialist's at the city, and I was wanting to visit some yarn stores on the way home. I did so. So if you are interested in that city trip to the stores where I did recording, tune in on Monday, because there will be, obviously, the video showing me visiting the store of the Seemann and Vibra in Nijmegen when I were there in any case. So yes, tune in. I really had to keep a little bit of self-control going through that store, because it's so easy to want to buy a lot of yarn, but I do have plenty. But I did have a few things I wanted to get, because last week I finished all these headbands, and I have one of them here. This is the one where I worked the star stitch in the round, which I really like how it turned out. And I had one skein left after that. And I told you, if I only could get that one skein, like if there's no skeins left, then I would probably just work up the last skein and make 2 more headbands and then call it the day. But if they did have, then I actually wanted to get more and then make the cowl, because the original pattern also had a cowl. So I am going to look into making that cowl, because I was so lucky that they had more yarn. So this is the yarn I had left. So what I had left from the first skein is just quickly wrapped around the label here, just for me to keep track of it. That was the skein I had left, but I was so lucky that they did have more. So I bought 2 more, because that should be more than enough. They do say the cowl is like 1.5. Based on what I can read myself to and what it's so far been taking, it should be about 1.5 of these Naco Bonjour skeins. So this is the 2 extra I got. And I will make the cowl of that, and what's left I'm just going to make a few more headbands from. And I'm going to see if they might sell this window already via the Facebook sites that I do have access to. There's a few creative sites for that. But when I were there and decided, okay, I'm going to do the extra headbands because I want to make sure I had enough yarn, and I wasn't sure about the lot number anymore. So I got these two, which are the same. So that is obviously what I'm gonna make those cowls from, or the single cowl. Then I saw they also had this dusty rose in the same. Not bonjour, but in a dusty rose. So I thought, make 2 headbands of this. And that is what I will do. And then once those all are done, I'm basically going to see if I can see if they sell on the Facebook Marketplace. If they don't, I'll keep them for the stash, and I'll throw them up later. Because right now the idea is, sales-wise, probably both do my own web shop and maybe combine it with Etsy. Happy to receive input if you are experienced with either or. Either comments down below, and feel free to email me whatever you want. I am looking into things right now. Not in a big rush for it because I do have lots of other things on my plate to take care of. But I am, as I said, slowly building up this stash for selling, because in the event that I do not find the right job, then I'm probably just gonna, crochet and enjoy life for a bit, because I do have the ability to do so. I'm not in a big rush, and it would be kind of cool if I could still set up a web shop doing this, because the fact is I can't keep all my makes. I would love to, because I do value what I make, but I just don't have room for it. Eventually room runs out, right? So that's the current plan. And I hope you will enjoy the journey, because that means that we will soon not just do yarn talks and yarn hauls and so on. We will also, well, I do have plans for more tutorials to come, because I do have another design that I want to do. And I think I want to start on that in November, simply because there's a few things I need to do within the next about 2.5 weeks. So I will be kind of busy to not start working on a specific design. So the design part is slightly ever so postponed, but I want to start on that in November. And if that works out nicely, we will have to write up a pattern and probably also make a tutorial here for YouTube for those that could be interested in that. We will be also doing some flocking based on, I guess, being a business owner. I am already a business owner, not related to crochet. I'm sure I can apply this to crochet as well. And I might actually even do an even better job if I really want to do this. And I do think I want to do this. But that's all under this postponed note, because the thing is, if the unemployment agency determines that I work more for my business, then they will not pay out the full amount of unemployment benefits that I'm entitled to get, which I all paid to get through taxes. So I will basically be stupid to do it already now, when I can easily wait like 3 months and make sure that I'm well prepared. So that's the current thoughts. I'm not stressed, I'm calm. Everything is gonna be fine. It was wonderful catching up with you guys. I do hope you enjoyed this yarn talk video. If you did, don't forget to hit that thumb button, because that does really support me ever so much. And right now, I definitely need all the support I can get, because, yeah, time is flying, and soon the future seems a little bit more uncertain, even though that I'm somewhat relaxed with it. But I do need to start looking at how it's gonna look if I don't find the right job. How will that look if I start doing this full time, and will it even be remotely realistic over time? Like right now, right here, looking at everything I have now, looking at the small income I do have from YouTube, which is pennies in a bucket. No, it's not realistic. What selling makes on the side, keep growing this, etc. It might be realistic. It's not unrealistic. And the appointment I had with my specialist Friday afternoon, morning, afternoon, well, around lunch, she basically told me, Stine, it's important that you also spend time on things that gives you energy. I'm thinking about this, thinking about how I can do this, thinking about the freedom I have or flexibility I have to do what I want, when I want, etc. really does give me energy, a lot more energy than what I used to do, even though the uncertainty of the future is much, much bigger, which is a bit funny. But I actually do get energy from it. I'm not tired by the thought, which is nice. So rounding off by this, I'm actually going to give you all the same advice. Do spend some time on things that does give you energy. Yeah, have a nice weekend. Happy crafting until I see you again. And on Monday, I'll take you with me to the yarn stores. Bye.